You know that feeling, right? A colleague drops the ball, a friend lets you down, and bam, there's that hot surge of anger. You're frustrated, you're totally annoyed, and you know exactly whose fault it is. But what if all that frustration, all that anger, what if it wasn't just a reaction? What if it's actually a signpost, pointing you toward a much more powerful way to make progress in your own life?
So, the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus said this over 2,000 years ago, and let's be honest, it sounds completely backward. Someone else messes up, and I'm supposed to look at myself? It just feels wrong, almost unfair.
And that's the natural question, isn't it? But here's the thing, this isn't about some kind of self-blame game. The Stoics were ruthlessly practical people. They were interested in feeling bad for the sake of it. They were interested in what actually works. And what they figured out is a deep secret about where all our energy goes when we get angry.
To really get their solution, we first have to understand the problem, which we can call the anger trap. It's this vicious cycle that so many of us get stuck in, and we don't even realize it. Think of your anger like a giant, powerful spotlight. When someone frustrates you, you shine that bright, hot light directly on them. You light up all their flaws, you list out their mistakes, you replay your grievances in your head over and over again. You're spending a massive amount of energy, but for what? Zero result. Nothing changes. You're just left standing in the dark, pointing a light at someone else. So, the Stoic solution isn't about blaming yourself. It's about a strategic, really powerful move. You just turn that spotlight around. It's about taking all of that wasted energy and finally investing it where it can actually create some real change. This chart just lays out the choice perfectly. On the left, you've got the anger trap, listing their faults, replaying the argument. It's a total dead end. But on the right, that's the Stoic path. You examine your response. You clarify your expectations. You identify your contribution. See, this isn't about taking the blame. It's about taking back control. The writer Stephen Pressfield has this brilliant metaphor for this. He says, cover the canvas. When you're an artist, your one job is to get paint on your canvas. Getting angry at someone else for their mistakes, that's like trying to paint on their canvas from across the room. It's impossible. It's pointless. The only masterpiece you can ever create is on the canvas right in front of you. All right, so you've refocused that spotlight, you're back at your own canvas. Now what? How do you actually make progress? Well, this is where we start building a ladder, a clear structure for turning all that refocused energy into real-world results. Robert Greene gives us this fantastic framework. You start with a big, ambitious vision at the very top. But so you don't get overwhelmed, you build a ladder down from it. Each rung is a smaller, more manageable goal, leading all the way down to these daily, totally controllable micro goals. And here's the crucial part. Each rung on that ladder must be something you can actually control. So make my colleague more responsible. That's not a rung on your ladder. But communicate my expectations more clearly in our next meeting. That is a rung you can climb. And this is exactly why turning that spotlight inward is so powerful. Every single time you get frustrated and you choose to look at your own response instead of theirs, you learn something critical about your own tendencies. Do you tend to avoid hard conversations? Do you put too much faith in others? That self-knowledge is pure gold. It's what lets you build a smarter, stronger ladder for yourself. Okay, building a ladder is great, but you gotta know which building to lean it against, right? To do that, we need a reliable way to get our bearings, especially in those heated moments of frustration. We need an internal compass. This is the key question. Once you've pulled all that energy back from blaming other people, where does it go? The Stoics would say it goes towards the things that are fundamentally 100% within your control. And here they are. These two compasses literally map out the entire territory of what you can control. I want you to notice what's missing. Other people's behavior, the weather, external events, none of that is on here. What is here are the fundamental choices that are always, always yours to make. Let's start with the first compass, the physical and emotional one. The directions are simple. Move, diet, happy, and quiet. These are the absolute basics. You can always choose to move your body. You can always be mindful of what you eat and drink. You can always choose to cultivate positive thoughts. And you can always find a moment of quiet. Think of these as the foundation for everything else. The second compass is all about your higher purpose. We've got work, pray, rest, and play. This is literally the map to a balanced, meaningful life. Engaging in work that matters to you, connecting with something bigger than yourself, getting strategic rest, and, of course, making time for joy and play. Every one of these is a choice you can make. So here are all 8 directions together.
When you're angry at somebody else, you've basically wandered completely off your own map. Returning to yourself is as simple as picking one of these 8 directions, something you can do right now this very second, and just taking one small step.
And this is where the magic really happens. Because when you consistently, day after day, focus on these small, controllable actions, these start to compound. They build on each other, creating a kind of momentum that is almost unstoppable. We are so bad at this as humans. We wildly overestimate what we can do in a single day, but we grossly, criminally underestimate what we can achieve over a year of just being consistent. The goal isn't one heroic, massive effort. It's just doing a little, a lot. It's about making small, smart deposits every single day. You know, if you strip everything else away, it all comes down to these 3 things. These are the atomic units of all progress. No matter what is happening around you, your attitude, your effort, and your response are always unambiguously yours. This is the bedrock of all your power. This quote just nails the whole idea. When you're offended by someone's fault, you face this exact choice. You can do nothing, totally paralyzed by anger, what you can't change, or you can turn inward and do the little that you can do. You can take one step in one of your 8 directions. You can focus on your attitude. You can do what you can. So the anger isn't just gone, it's been transformed. It's been turned from this destructive force into productive fuel. And so the real question becomes, now that you have all this reclaimed energy, what are you going to build?